Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining me once again for Get Your Money Right with Yvonne. I'm Yvonne. How's it going? Listen, if you were looking for the spot to talk about retirement savings, you are indeed in the correct place. Welcome. And this is a very supportive community. If you would like to join us, we'll talk about it later. Just enjoy this episode and see what you think, okay? So we'll start this as we always do by me asking you, how are you doing? How are you faring? How is it going? I just think it's super important for us to reach out to one another. We've all got challenges and they're not all the same, obviously, but there are some similarities, and maybe just kind of talking to others and just getting a different perspective can be helpful. I know that, I gather with friends and we talk about different things and we share, and nobody's trying to fix anybody's problems or anything like that, but just sharing, getting it out. It helps to have some sort of a perspective on things from somebody else. And just know that we're thinking of you. We are wishing the best for you. And just want you to always know there's somebody out there who cares. We're all sending caring thoughts out there. Okay, so just wanted you to know that. So, how are things going with me? They are going well. I have no issues. And, one thing, I don't know how I got on this list. I don't know. Maybe you hit a certain age and all these things start coming to you. I don't know. But, for the longest time, I kept getting links from a company called Grounding Well. You could get sheets embedded with, I don't even know what it is, or you could get mats, and it would help to reduce swelling in the body, help you sleep, do all these things. And I'm reading this thinking, really? Seriously? You want me to get sheets to reduce swelling in my body and to help me sleep better? And I'm thinking, y'all are crazy. Well, I kept getting so many of them that, okay, let me look into this. I go, I don't want the sheets. I'm looking at my bed and for me, it didn't really work. So I'm like, nah. But they had these pads that you plug into the grounding outlet. Anyone, it didn't even matter. And then just be on this mat every day between 30 and 60 minutes during the day. And, I talked badly about it. I did. I will admit it. And I didn't want to pay the price that I was seeing. So I go, okay, well, what does Amazon have? Well, that didn't really help. I think I did actually order it. I go, that's a price I can deal with. Okay. Well, I ordered it, and maybe a week or so later, the seller wrote back and said, listen, sorry, we can't get a hold of this item. We can't ship it to you. Please cancel the order so you can get your money back. Alrighty. It's like, oh, I like that price, but apparently I'm not going to get it for that. So then I went to eBay and I found one that I was willing to buy. It's like, okay, well, it was half off, and it's like, well, let me give it a shot, right? So it came really quickly, actually. One thing though, the company that I had asked for the mat to come from, it came from a different company. So they swapped it. And I'm like, okay, but I thought, let me just try it and just see. So is it going to be thumbs up or is it going to be thumbs down? Well, I got this mat, I don't know, week and a half ago, and I've been using it. And I have to tell you, there were some changes. I tore the meniscus in my knee several years ago. It was surgically repaired, and I went through physical therapy. All of that did what I needed to do, right? And but then there were still some. I was noticing some swelling, that and some other things, and I go, well, let's just see what happens. Give it a shot. And honestly, there have been changes. And I go, I don't know how it works or why, but some of these grounding products do work, at least for me. Maybe not for everybody. I don't know, but I'm just throwing it out there because I was like resistant. Because, I don't want to spend money if I don't have to. Nope, I really don't. But I thought, okay, I have a little bit of cash on the side. Let me just give it a shot. So happy that I did. So just throwing it out there. If you've seen it and wondered if you should try it, give it a thought. It might just work for you. Okay. So what have I been reading? So I was reading this article and it kind of tied into a conversation I had with a college friend maybe 20 years ago. But this consultant, she's 25 years old. She's been in the workplace now for, it said, 2+ years. Alrighty. And she had some very unique ideas about who should be who should be a manager and what age they should be. And I'm like, really? So according to this consultant, 25-year-old consultant, she said that directors should be between the ages of 35 and 37. Alrighty. Then she went on to say that senior level executives need to be no older than 50. Okay, I was like, seriously? We are judging people solely based on age as to whether or not they can handle a particular job. And what she had to say was that after 50, your reflexes slow down and you can't keep up with anything. And so you really should relinquish your duties and allow somebody younger to take over. My first thought, I don't know about yours, was that's terribly self-serving, being that you are a 25-year-old consultant. Alrighty then. So, and it made me think about a conversation I had with my college friend when she said, we graduated and she applied for a job. I can't remember what the job was or anything like that. It could have been a director role, I'm not sure. But in any case, her interviewer had this to say, it apparently went very well. They had good rapport and they were on the same page about the duties of this job. And then the recruiter had this to say, you are the perfect age. And I remember when she said that to me 20 years ago, I'm like, perfect age? Like, what on earth does that mean? So apparently, this whole business of determining who should be a good fit for a role is nothing new. This young consultant just tapped into stuff that's been going on apparently for 20+ years. Who knows? It just made me stop and think. I just find it terribly sad that we attempt to box people in solely by age. I just think it's just not a good way to figure stuff out. We all get better after we've done things for a while. Some people can do it like right off the bat. Other people grow into it. And I think we have to be accepting of differences and just know that everything's okay. It will happen when it is meant to happen. And so then I was reading all that stuff and then I'm thinking, oh, okay, then based on what this consultant had to say, I would walk away from new things. And it's like, no, I I embrace change, whatever age. I'm over 50 and I embrace it. My manager gave me some tasks. It had no explanation, no anything. She said, this is what I would like. If you have any questions, you let me know. Okay. So I'm like, well, I can figure this out, right? So I created links, I created surveys based on what we were attempting to get from the crew and some other things. And I put it all together and, Google is my friend. Okay, this is what I want to do. How does this work? AI, remember I told you about Copilot? I'll have some more things about that in a minute. But I went into these different sources to figure out what I wanted to do, how it would look pretty, okay? And without checking with her, I went ahead and published it because what I was doing was sending it out to our work group of, between 125, 150 people. And my thought process is, okay, this makes sense to me. I've used AI to augment what, my knowledge is. Let's put it all together and just see. So I published it and I asked my manager later, it's like, what did you think? Was this acceptable? She couldn't say enough good things about what I had produced for the group. And that's because I was willing to embrace AI. It's not, the only thing we can expect in life is change. Everything's going to evolve. We just have to, roll with it. And I just found that the young woman's thoughts about people's age and their unwillingness to embrace new things, I just thought it was so terribly short-sighted. So we're talking about AI. I told you I have access to Copilot. And there's different forms of using AI, right? Different companies. Chat GPT is one of them. And I know there's a whole bunch of others. So see what you can gain access to. But what I want to try, and I'm quite sure it's going to work, because I told you before, I went into Copilot and I said, at first I started with just my 401k balance, and I asked it, based on this number and the fact that I need this money to last 35 years, will I be able to retire on this? And I told you before, this is highly unlikely with just that balance. So then I went back and I added my pension amount and I added my anticipated Social Security. Once I had all those forms in there, it was like, oh yeah, you can. This will take care of you in retirement. Based on, and we talked about this before, using the 4% formula. Okay, so what I mean by that, okay, so what Social Security is going to be. I know what the pension amount is going to be. And then I said, based on this balance, I want to take 4% out. And so it would give me an amount that would last me 35 years. So that's what AI took care of for me. Now, the next question I have is taxes. I know my tax situation will change in retirement. So the next thing I'm going to try, and I'll tell you about it in our next session. I'm going to say, there's this, and there's this funds that I'll have in retirement. Now, based on this, what is the anticipated tax rate that I will be paying? And once we've determined that, then I have a good idea, or at least a better idea, of the exact amount that I will be able to use in retirement. All these things you have to look into and figure out. And my husband was laughing at me because, I needed to know, okay, this is what I'm bringing in. You guys know my piece of paper rule. Blank piece of paper. What's at the top? What I bring in on a monthly basis. The next line, and don't skip this one, the next line, pay yourself first. So I know how much I want in cash, how much to do X, Y, and Z, whatever. This is the amount I'm allowing myself on a monthly basis. Then my bills come after that. I've done that, and I'm in a good place. So I'm asking him to do that too, because he said something about he dug into his savings to pay for things for the house. And I said, okay, let's stop right there. You'll need to do the same sort of thing that I do so that we can get to how much we need on a monthly basis. So I've given him that assignment, and those of you who live with others, sometimes it's kind of hard to get folks to get on the same page with you, but have some grace. It will be fine. I'll tell you about it in the next one, okay? So, at the very beginning of this, I said, if you're not currently a member of this community and you would like to join, we would love to have you. See where it says down there, subscribe, click that and follow the link. Now, you're wondering, well, why would I do that? Because I'm doing this content for free. I am not a money manager of any sort. I'm just a graduate of the School of Hard Knocks. I'm sharing what I have learned with you. I just wish I had this sort of a resource when I was coming up. I didn't. So sometimes you have to be the change that you are seeking. So I'm doing these, they are free. When I produce them, they will come straight to your email box so you can read them, you can share them. And, as far as sharing them, somebody who is struggling. Somebody, at least one somebody, who could use information to help them learn to save money, learn to take care of themselves. So just make sure to do that. And then you can also save these episodes. So totally free, and hope that you join us because we would just, again, love to have you. All right. So we like to keep these in the 15-minute range, and we've gone slightly over. But with that, I want to thank you so much for joining me for Get Your Money Right with Yvonne. I'm Yvonne, and until next time, please be good to yourselves. Please be good to each other. We're all we've got. So take care of yourself, okay, and others. All right? Until next time, bye-bye.